Cognitive biases, the inherent patterns in our thinking, can lead to distorted judgments and inaccurate assessments. Awareness is the first step in mitigating the impact of these cognitive distortions. This module aims to equip you with the knowledge to identify and address 12 key cognitive biases and fallacies, enhancing your decision-making. The availability heuristic is a mental shortcut that relies on immediate examples that come to a person's mind when evaluating a specific topic or decision. This bias occurs because information that is more readily available in memory is judged to be more frequent or important. For example, when someone hears about an airplane accident on the news, they might overestimate the risk of flying. Their judgment is swayed by the ease with which they can recall dramatic incidents, rather than by comprehensive data or statistical reality. This can lead to skewed risk assessments and decision-making based on what is most memorable rather than what is most accurate. Anchoring bias refers to a common human tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information offered when making decisions. Anchoring bias is a common marketing strategy through strategic pricing where a product is initially offered at a high price to set a premium value perception. This high initial price serves as the anchor. Later, when the price is reduced through discounts or sales, consumers perceive this as a significant bargain. The sunk cost fallacy occurs when individuals continue investing in a project or decision based on the cumulative past investment like time, money, or other resources despite new evidence suggesting that the cost, moving forward, outweighs the expected benefits. For example, when a person keeps investing money into repairing an old car because they've already spent a lot on it, rather than buying a new one which might be more economical in the long run. Framing effect is a cognitive bias when people react differently to a particular choice or decision depending on whether it is presented as a loss or a gain. For example, if a doctor tells a patient that a surgery has a 90% success rate, the patient might be more inclined to agree to the surgery than if the doctor says the surgery has a 10% failure rate. This effect demonstrates how the way information is presented can influence and potentially distort rational decision-making. Hindsight bias is the tendency to believe, after an event has occurred, that one would have predicted or expected the outcome, even though there was no objective basis for predicting it beforehand. This "I knew it all along" phenomenon can lead to an oversimplification of cause and effect and a misjudgment of one's own decision-making abilities. For example, after a company's stock price crashes, investors might claim they saw it coming because of certain signs and market conditions. In reality, these signs may not have been as clear or predictive before the event. This bias can make people overconfident in their ability to predict future events based on past outcomes, often overlooking the complexity and unpredictability of situations. The halo effect is a cognitive bias where an individual's overall impression of a person, brand, or product in one domain influences their feelings and thoughts in another domain. An example of halo effect is when a famous actor known for their compelling performances advocates for educational reforms and the public readily embrace their views. Despite the actor's expertise only in art and entertainment, their celebrity status can lead people to assume they possess deep insights into education too. Recency bias is the tendency to give more weight to recent events or information when making decisions or evaluations, often at the expense of older or historical data. This bias can skew perception and decision-making processes, leading people to overemphasize what has happened in the near past. Recency bias can significantly influence consumer behavior, especially in the context of product reviews and experiences. For instance, if a customer has a series of positive interactions with a service, but then encounters a negative experience more recently, they might disproportionately weigh this latest experience in their overall evaluation. Despite numerous satisfactory encounters, the most recent negative experience might lead them to view the service unfavorably or even switch to a competitor. The decoy effect, also known as the asymmetric dominance effect, is a phenomenon in consumer behavior where the preference for one option over another changes when a third, less attractive option is introduced. This third option, or the decoy, is not intended to be chosen but rather to make one of the original options more appealing. For example, imagine a cinema offering two popcorn sizes, a small size for $3 and a large size for $7. Customers might be divided over whether the large size is worth more than double the price of the small. However, if the cinema introduces a medium size as a decoy, priced at $6.50, which is not much cheaper than the large but offers significantly less popcorn, the large size suddenly appears to be a much better deal. As a result, more customers might opt for the large size, influenced by its comparative value against the decoy. Survivorship bias is a cognitive error that occurs when one focuses on the people or things that made it past some selection process, overlooking those that did not, often because of their lack of visibility. For example, survivorship bias can be observed in the narrative surrounding famous college dropouts who have achieved significant success in their careers, such as Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Mark Zuckerberg. However, this perspective focuses only on the few successful cases, ignoring the vast majority of dropouts who do not achieve such high levels of success. The stories of those who did not succeed are less visible and often go untold, leading to a distorted view that dropping out of college might be a shortcut to success. Outcome bias occurs when a decision is judged solely based on its outcome rather than the decision-making process and its quality. For example, someone might make a high-risk investment decision without proper due diligence because of a gut feeling. If the investment turns out to be highly profitable, the person's decision may be praised as visionary and bold, despite the poor decision-making process. Such an outcome bias can encourage poor decision-making without adequate analysis, potentially leading to significant losses when luck does not favor the decision next time. The paradox of choice refers to the phenomenon where having too many options to choose from can lead to feelings of anxiety, decision paralysis, and dissatisfaction with the final choice, contrary to the expectation that more choices lead to greater satisfaction. This concept suggests that beyond a certain point, an increase in the number of options can complicate decision-making and lower overall happiness with the decision outcome. The rhyme-as-reason effect is a cognitive bias where people are more likely to believe a statement is true if it rhymes, attributing higher credibility or memorability to it simply because of its poetic form. This effect suggests that the aesthetic quality of rhyming can enhance the persuasiveness of an argument or statement, regardless of its actual validity.